jump to give enough time to find the balance. Gotcha. If you straighten the leg, you can feel the balance, but you can't balance. Last time I took off my hair. I'm Robert North, ballet director in Mönchengladbach and Krefeld. I started quite late for ballet. I was 19 when I started. I was in art school, and this was the 60s. So in the 60s, you could pretty much do whatever you wanted. So I decided to switch over and study dancing. I really thought it was something that would be good for me. Well, because I started late, I thought I'd better have a second possibility in case the dancing didn't work out. So I started choreographing in my second year of training. And most of the major companies had choreographic workshops. And so I did a choreographic workshop for Ballet Rambert and the English National Ballet, which was then called the Festival Ballet. I found this fun music, these two guys that are called the Two Cellos. And I heard them, I thought, okay, this would be great for dancers to work to. So I started using them in class just for the training. And I enjoyed the kind of movement that was coming out of these training and from this music. And I thought I'd make it very difficult because one of the pieces from the Two Cellos is called Technical Difficulties. So I thought I'd give them some technique problems in it.
Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Es ist 10 vor 10. Ich bitte die Kollegen der Technik zur Bühne für die Ballettstange für das Balletttraining. Technik bitte zur Bühne für die Ballettstange.
Dancer will start in the morning with an hour and 15 minutes training. It's useful, of course, to improve your technique in what you're doing. It also warms you up in the morning, so it prevents injuries. It also is very good for your stamina, so it keeps up your fitness. In a modern class, there's two different things you can do. The Graham technique starts on the floor. You do a floor warm-up, then center, different from ballet, but the same idea, and then jumps, the same. In other modern techniques, you can start on the floor, no bar, but standing for your warm-up. But almost all training consists of starting with some kind of warm-up for the body, then going into different dance techniques. They do training every day, and that's part of what dancers do. They train every day of their career. But also you want to give them things that will help them improve. But the difficulty is to make sure they're interesting, because training every day, that can be a difficult discipline. It's not the training, it's pushing yourself to learn and to change every day. So I think the biggest challenge for teachers is to make the dancers want to learn. Respect Bro by Takashi Kondo is for two of the men in the company that actually live in the same house so they can dance close together. And I think it's a discussion about the particular problems between white and black people in America today. I'm pretty certain Takashi didn't want to be very specific, but it's clearly about this racial problem. And he's used a lovely piece by Arvo Pärt, Frat. So of course in Mönchengladbach and Krefeld we're very lucky because we have a quite large and very efficient stage crew, a technical machine. And so we have quite a range that we can do on stage, which for instance the lighting and the movement in the sets.
Holger, kannst du mir bitte den Saal geben auf 40?
This is quite different from my past experience sometimes in England, where we didn't have quite this amount of technical facility at our disposal. So here we have the possibility of people doing a lot of different moves on stage during a performance, and quite a big range of lighting possibilities. And of course, that's great for dancing because you don't want a lot of sets on the stage because you want room for the dancers to move around. So if you have strong lighting possibilities, it's a great advantage. The ballet by Yoko Takahashi is to Vivaldi's Spring. And she brought a very interesting take on it. She originally did Winter for two boys. So she wanted to do something different, but use, again, the Vivaldi music. And she has a very interesting musicality, quite different from mine. So it makes a very nice contrast. She's also set it in Japan. So it's Vivaldi's Spring in Japan. So it makes a very charming piece, I think. Of course, in the time of COVID, we've had to make quite a few changes. For instance, the company now works in 3 separate groups of 7 people in each group. That way we can keep the social distancing when we work. John Neumeier said an interesting thing. He said that COVID has made us go back to what ballet is essentially about. This is about the dancer. And I think that's a very interesting idea, because a lot of the times when you choreograph, you can think about large group movements involving dancers, but it's not the actual individual dancer you're looking at. So COVID has made us, I think, all focus much more on the actual material of the individual dancer.
Ab.
The piece by Marco Antonio is a ballet set, I think you could say, in southern Italy. And it's about the idea of freedom for a woman. Because, of course, in that society, I think female doesn't have that much freedom. So it's a kind of essay on that subject. So I'm not sure how free the woman becomes in this. I think it shows the restrictions on her freedom and her desire for freedom. And he's used some very interesting folk music from the area. I think that audiences like to see people dancing. I like to use the word dancing in an old-fashioned way. The people doing steps that we recognize in a way to the music that we understand. I think more and more audiences like ballets with stories. And I like doing story ballets, so I think that's one of the reasons that the audience like it. I think the dancers are very committed in this company and do beautiful performances. I'd done a lot of sports when I was younger, and the art school was rewarding, but I missed the physical activity. And ballet offered both creativity and a lot of physical activity. Dancing. I found that that's the thing I really wanted to do, was to dance.